A reality
Should we
TV
sign you up for the Bachelor?
No.
Okay, but
I
should we?
cannot. I cannot.
So one of our favorite things in life is supporting our friends through life's ups and downs, like finding your special someone and sometimes letting that relationship go.
Today's guest is a very special friend of ours. You may recognize her from Wong Fu's Strangers Again and Strangers Never Again series, her beautiful singing, and also her social content with her lovely daughter, Isla.
Yes, and we are so excited to welcome Cathy Nguyen, aka Lil Sea Dog, for all of you OG YouTube lovers out there, onto the show to talk about her experience with her divorce, with co-parenting, her perspective of motherhood and parenting, and also what she's excited for next. So with that, welcome Cathy.
Welcome back, Cathy.
Thank you. Yes, welcome back.
Yeah, Cathy was in one of our very early episodes.
In a very different season of my life. That was when I was a fresh new mom.
Oh,
Yes, that was a fresh new
You
mom
went through
episode.
your birthing story
experience with us.
Yeah.
which is
Much
so
different story today.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be back. Thank you guys for having me.
You're our first video
Oh
pod
man,
guest
hopefully,
too,
hopefully a
so-
good first video guest.
Well, we got wine
Oh man.
today.
Yeah, special request from everyone, I guess.
This one is called Truth and Valor.
Oh,
I guess
did
you
get this appropriate?
Did I get this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Truth and Valor
Nice.
on our white couches.
Oh no.
Some red wine.
So at any time, Kathy, you wanted to start pouring or sipping, just let us know.
Start it now.
Okay, here we go. I feel like Janet's the pro here. Here, Janet. You
Oh no.
I don't know how
I'm
to open a
nervous.
wine bottle.
I can open
you
as
do.
we
I really
start our
don't drink wine.
conversation.
What do you mean?
You
All
got
right,
the
I'll
electric
open
ones
it.
now.
I'm going to leave the
This
cork
white
in.
couch is making me very nervous.
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna
too.
knock over a mic here.
Okay, well, as Janet opens up this bottle of wine called Truth and Valor, which sounds like Valorant, the
Yeah.
game that I do not play.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored.
Just seemed appropriate for this episode.
Sorry, I'm just so interested now. But anyways, as Janet's opening up the bottle of wine, I do want to start out the conversation talking about Isla, your daughter, who we all love so much. And I think
I love Isla.
I love Isla. I
little
love
Isla.
Isla. But I love the story because I feel like, you know, you were there in our in the early episodes talking about your birthing story of Isla. Now we get to see her run around and she's a whole human now.
Oh my gosh.
She's a whole
is.
human now.
I mean, she definitely
literally a human.
But it's just crazy. Like, she's so animated. She's so smart. And like we see her at parties and she's just so like lovely to be around. She's so outgoing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, you know, obviously not being a mom, do you find yourself kind of like mimicking the parenting styles as your own mom?
Oh, well. Somebody's downing it over here. I think we all grew up with like very similar parents where, you know, how they showed their love and support and how they just raised us, you know. And for me, I never really had that type of relationship with my parents, my mom especially. So I think based on my experience, I'm trying to do the opposite. Because, yeah, our parents loved us and supported us, but in different ways where we need different requirements now as adults. And so we know better now. So as a mom now, I feel like I want to be more understanding, more, you know, validating and acknowledging feelings and just, you know, being more what I wanted growing up. Not to say that our parents didn't love or support us. It's just in the way that we needed, like we didn't have that. And so I want to do that for Isla now and just, doing my best to do so. Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, everyone here and probably everyone on your social media has followed your journey. And I think we're growing up with Isla and I love that. Like, even when you talk about how wanting Isla to be more expressive, like there's always the stories of when she was like hangry and she's like, you know, I always ask her like, why are you frustrated? She goes, I'm hungry. I'm angry. She knows like these words to identify her emotions. I think it's really incredible what you're doing as a mom. So
I think communication, like that was something that was lacking with me and my parents. Communication, just talking in general, let alone like telling our emotions, you know. But yeah, communication is a big thing for me and Isla. Like, tell me how you feel. Like, why are you sad? Why are you angry? How can I help? So again, basically doing what I wish I had growing up for myself.
All right, so now we have glasses of wine. Let's cheers to Isla.
Oh my gosh. Yay, Isla.
Can't drink this until you're 21. Or maybe 18 when you're in Asia or Europe.
Or Toronto.
Or
Toronto.
yeah, they're 19.
Oh,
So I went to club. All that was weird. So one thing that I've been following, because I'm also a Disney fan, you went on a freaking cruise with her.
I did.
Just you and Isla. How was that experience? It looked amazing.
Yeah, I actually went with also my best friend too. So there was 3 of us. That was great. I mean, Disney, obviously we're Disney heads. I love Disney. I grew up Disney. So when I got that partnership email, I was like, oh my gosh, like bucket list for sure. Bucket list partnership. And I didn't tell anybody, but I had written that down on my like 2023 goals. Like it was like one of my dream partnerships was Disney. And then like a few weeks later, I got the email. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
Yeah.
Amazing.
How is it like
time.
for you actually? Sorry, Kathy. Like traveling with your daughter. She's like 4, right?
Yeah.
Is it stressful for you?
It's gotten a lot easier for sure. I think as our kids get older, it's a lot easier, less to pack and prepare for. You know, you don't need to bring milk or baby food. You know, now she can eat regular food or you know. So it's definitely gotten a lot easier. I'm a planner too. So I like to do things ahead of time. I have notes of like things I need to pack, what we're going to wear. So I think I do a pretty good job of like planning ahead. But I also like am not like strict on the scheduling too. Like I plan, but like I make sure like, yeah, we're open. I'm down to do this too. Like I just make sure I have my options open.
I feel like I'm always like taking just mental notes from any mothers, just because
in preparation.
in preparation. You know, I never know. So Isla just seems like a really good traveler too. I know you guys traveled with her when she was really young.
Yeah, her first trip was at 6 months.
To Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, to Hawaii. Yeah.
The clip she goes,
Ah.
yeah. I'm the little.
Which one?
Hi. She was like, hi. And she goes, hi. And,
At
so
6
cute.
months?
Yeah.
So cute. So obviously I'm like one of part of the Isla fan club. So seeing her grow up has been really incredible. But now I can't believe she's 4.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
full on conversations. I'm like, this is crazy. Has it been like, I'm sure it's been really rewarding watching her grow up, but has any parts of watching her grow surprised you in any way?
Surprise? No, not really. But I do love seeing her personality shine just as she gets older. Like she's so funny.
Yeah.
Like effortlessly. She does not know what she's saying and doing. And it's like, you're hilarious and it's fun. And she's basically, I say that she's like the mini version of the extroverted me. Like that's how I am. If you like either know me or that's actually how I was growing up too. Like I was like very out there. I don't know what happened, but I just love watching her grow and just having full on conversations with her. It's just weird, but it's so fun and great at the same time.
Yeah.
Is she your best friend?
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm working on it.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us about Isla. We're going to move into a different part of the conversation now where maybe you want to take a couple sips of wine.
No, I did not take my Pepsid today. No Pepsid.
No, that's okay. Speaking of Isla, we see all the amazing content that you create with her, which we all know that you have a social persona, right? A lot of your work involves a platform and sharing about your life with the world. Which can be challenging when there are certain experiences that you have that are really personal and maybe like you yourself are still like barely processing.
Yeah.
So obviously your divorce was probably one of those like more challenging times. How did you like think about and manage your social presence along with what was happening, and how has that experience been like for you?
Oh man. Yeah, that was a really, really difficult time for me. I've been sharing about my life for as long as I've been on social media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously never anticipating the amount of audience that we were going to gather in this process, but a lot of them have been following me and have seen my life unfold for the last 15, 16 years now. And it's crazy. And a lot of them are now following me because of Isla. And so, I've shared my life. Like there are things that I've kept private, but I do share a lot about my life. And many have seen me go through some of my biggest life milestones. Yeah. And so when this happened, literally overnight, like I just stopped sharing about that part of my life. life had to go on. I still had work that I needed to post. I didn't have a break to grieve, to be sad, or to, to process anything, because it was still going on while I was trying to parent, to, just be there for myself in general, and that was like so hard. And it's just so hard to smile through the pain, you know what I mean? And especially, obviously being on social media, like we have to put this kind of front on, but, I didn't think that I was like faking anything. It was just, I just stopped sharing about that part.
Did you get like questions from followers? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard because I didn't know for a while. I didn't know where the future or what the future was going to look like.
Right.
So I was processing all that on my own with maybe like a handful of people who like knew exactly what I was going through. But for the most part, like I didn't know what was going to happen, so I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to, It was hard, and even amongst family and friends, like I felt like so much shame and embarrassment through what was like transpiring in our lives. So basically, when I knew I was certain that this was the road that we were going to take, that's when I decided, okay, I'm ready to share. Not because I owed anybody an explanation, but I did it for myself because I knew that I wanted to get that out there so that I can be sad and be angry and grieve, and it will be okay. You know what I mean? Like
it'll provide you a little bit of closure too.
Yeah, definitely. A huge sigh of relief when I announced that, we weren't going to be together. So yeah, it was a really difficult time, and still kind of like navigating through life in general. So I don't know what the future holds, and I think that's the scary part about moving forward.
Yeah.
It's just not knowing what the future holds.
Well, thank you for sharing with us that like initial experience, because I can only imagine how lonely that must have felt and how challenging to navigate. And to your point, like you have all these people watching and, you don't owe them any explanation. But then when it comes to dealing with your own, like even your personal life with your family and your friends, you felt kind of a sense of like hesitation, was it, to share? Yeah. How would you describe your community that is there for you? Who is that? What was that like? In what way did they help you through this, both you and Isla?
I didn't really have any other plans except to move back in with my parents. Like that was like a no-brainer. Like, okay, I'm going to move back home with my parents, and they, no hesitation either. They welcomed us with open arms and no questions asked. We just kind of, and I didn't have a backup plan. Like this was what was going to happen. And I knew that I needed the company. I knew I needed the love, and I knew I needed the support, and they were able to offer all of that and more for us. Aww. And that's all I could ever want and need. And so, yeah, we're still living with them now. And I mean, it's tough, living with your parents in general, but like as an adult with the kid, it's hard, but I can't, complain, because this is the time that Isla gets to spend with her grandparents. And then this is the time that I get to, spend extra time with my parents too, because, they're getting older. So I don't take that for granted.
Well, I want to commend you for recognizing that you're like, okay, this is a time when I need love and I need support. Yeah. And it's so like, that takes a lot of courage and I think bravery to establish that as well. And the move to do that. And it, from what we see and from what we know of you and your family and seeing of Isla, just everyone, like it looks like the ideal, like the best decision that you could have made for,
Is there any part of you that wants to share about the divorce, or, I know this is your first time actually talking about it more publicly.
Yeah, right. I think for the most part, I've only shared like bits and pieces of my journey on social media, just through posts. Yeah. Kept it all very vague. Still will probably keep it very vague. And like, if you know, and if you don't know, you're probably not meant to know. It's not important. It's not important for you to know the details.
Right. Yes.
No one ever plans to be in this situation. Yeah. So how do you navigate through a situation that you never really signed up for?
Right. And even for that, like, did you feel like you were like on Google searching like how to co-parent, how to like deal with this? Were you on like Reddit channels, reading books? How did you sort of prepare for this unexpected phase of your life?
I've kind of said it before. I don't know if anybody really knows, but like I felt like I was already a single parent even when we were together, because he was always working and he was always traveling. So I was by myself a good majority of the time to begin with. So it was already hard with two of us. And now, like, actually living the situation and being by myself and being, you know, by like alone and co-parenting, like, so much harder. I do Google, like, how long is it going to take for me to be sad about this? Like, what's next? Like, will I ever feel confident again? Like, how do I get over this trauma? Still researching that to this day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard.
Sorry.
No, please. Yeah.
Don't be sorry at all. Well, thank you for first and foremost for even coming onto this podcast and sharing your experience. I know it's a very difficult one to talk about, and I think it's like as strong as we can feel, and as much as we're like, yeah, I think it's past, and it's I'm stronger. I'm not sad because of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's always
these are not sad tears. It's just like how far I've come along tears.
Yeah.
You are so strong and so
Incredibly
beautiful,
strong.
Cathy. Like, literally, when we see you, we just see such a strong individual.
Thank you.
And an amazing mom, too, to
Yeah.
Isla. An amazing mom. Just seeing Isla herself, I'm just like, yeah, your mom is incredible. Even if we didn't know her, your mom is incredible.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't feel it sometimes, but thank you.
You need to be reminded of it because, I mean, I think what you went through was challenging. Like, a divorce is challenging in and of itself, right? But then when you have a child involved as well, how have you and Isla, like, do you guys talk about it? How do you process it together? Was there any type of conversation?
So when we decided to separate, she was just she just turned 3. So still very young, you know, but if you know Isla, you know that she's very smart. She's very emotionally aware and intelligent. And it's just like, she started asking questions very early on. And I'm like, no, you're not ready. Like, I'm not ready. I don't know what to say. Like, this isn't something that you want to, like, expose to your child as well. You know, like, I've learned as hard as it is, like, you want to separate, you know, that conflict between you and your ex-partner and your kids. Like, you don't want to involve them if it doesn't need it. They don't need to be involved. And
What kinds of
so,
questions was she
just
asking you?
You know, like, why are we at this new house, or why does dad have to live there, or why do I have to go home? Like, why can't I stay with dad? You know, I was going through the transition as well, so I didn't really know how to answer these questions. So I just kept it very vague and just said, you know, your dad and I are not together anymore. Sometimes you're going to be with him. You're going to be spending time with your dad, and sometimes you're going to be with mom. And, you know, just know that you are loved, and you are always loved no matter what. I make sure I tell her that every day, and I make sure that she knows and feels it as well.
I'm going to start crying.
Cheers. We just cheers that you got
Cheers,
through that
cheers,
shit.
cheers.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you
gosh.
for sharing.
I don't want to get the couch.
No, you're good. Cheers. Somebody needs to read this.
It's Janet here. I've shared on the podcast that I have been in a serious relationship since last fall. Like many couples nowadays, we met through an online dating app. I know firsthand that the experience of navigating dating apps can be so hit or miss. Many are great at connecting you with different types of people, but are you both looking for the same thing? Coffee Meets Bagel is one of the apps that really focuses on people who are intentional about looking for a serious connection. 91% of daters are looking for a serious relationship. In fact, during the onboarding process, if you express that you're looking for something casual, they recommend that you check out Tinder. Their profiles focus on things that matter for a long-term relationship, like lifestyle questions about family plans, which was a big factor for me, aligning on wanting children. Unlike other apps, they curate a set amount of profiles for you every noon. With your attention focused on a set of personalized matches, you can spend more time and effort on the conversations and dates instead of deciding who to match with. Less swiping and more matching, chatting, and actual dating. Another major plus, they are AAPI women-founded and led. Download Coffee Meets Bagel for some real connections.
So now we want to ask you a few questions about parenting. I'm sure once you first entered the realm of parenting, it looked, just very different from what it is now, not having sort of like another decision maker right next to you in the process, not being able to like fully just rely on someone who's like right next to you at all times. How has your perspective of parenting changed, if at all?
I said it before, like, it was already hard with two parents. It's already hard with two parents, so imagine doing it like on your own. Like it's just difficult to have to make these decisions on your own, but also like, I mean, nice at the same time where you don't have to, you can make these decisions on your own.
Yeah.
But also like there are times where it's just like also very lonely and sad, and you know, I get jealous of, you know, other families and couples and parents who will get to experience life and milestones with their kids together, you know, and knowing that I had that once. Like I thought I had it all at one point in my life, and then just woke up one day and it just kind of flipped upside down, and it's crazy. So yeah, life, guys, it's not fun when you have to do it by yourself, and I'm figuring it out as I go, but I don't know it all. I'm still learning. And
How have your expectations for yourself adjusted? For yourself as a mother and as a woman?
well, I've definitely learned that I have to give myself grace.
Yes.
To not be so hard on myself, because I am doing the best I can with what I have. And, you know, as hard as it is, like, I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah. How are you giving yourself grace during these times?
Like, specifically?
Yes, very specifically. Give us the specifics.
Not like, you know, when you're a new parent, you had these expectations of like, like no screen time, you know, certain rules that you set for yourself. Like no one else sets that for you. You just do it on your own. But like, why? Why do you do that? So I've learned to kind of adapt with our situation. Like, okay, well, that rule's not going to apply now because we're in a different situation now. For example, like sleep training, like slept train her, and like now we're sleeping on the same bed together, you know, like all of that's out the door.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Like I love it. Like this is our time. We get to cuddle. She pushes me off the bed all the time, but I love it. This is time that I won't get back. She's gonna want her own room soon enough, and it's just I'm learning to appreciate the changes and just do
It
my best.
sounds like you've hit a point of just like I'm just gonna let go of any control.
Yeah.
And just allow things to be.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. And I feel like that is the type of mindset where it's just like that allows you to also just move forward, you know, with the new changes that will just naturally come with such a big change in your life too.
Yeah.
And I love that you were sharing like the beautiful moments that you're finding.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is time that I get with her, right? And seeing, because there is, you know, with every situation, there are challenges, but then there are like lights or, you know, beautiful aspects of it. So it's really nice to hear you like calling those out.
Trying my best. Like it's hard to like have to. I mean, obviously there's still trauma and still hurt and pain, and I don't think that's gonna go away,
Right.
like ever, really. But I've learned to kind of, see the positives out of our situation and make the most of what we have, and we have each other.
It takes a very strong person to be able to take that perspective. What is something that has surprised you about co-parenting? Because he's not out of the picture.
He's
right?
not. It's going exactly how I expected it to be, which is we're civil. It's, you know, conversation is very minimal. Like Isla is our priority, and that's all that matters. And that's our goal. There's nothing more, nothing less. I don't need to, you know, rekindle any relationship with that. You know, I'm okay with where we're at.
Do you feel like you fully moved on from that relationship too?
Yes. And it's crazy. I think about it often because I was with him for 10 years of my life. And in a matter of a moment, all of that was like gone.
Yeah.
And how do you just like unlove somebody after you've loved them for so long?
Yeah.
I didn't think that I was capable of doing that, but with the situation that we were in, like that's what happened. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I loved you. And now I look at you and I'm like,
No.
Feels nothing.
nothing whatsoever.
Did it take like a like months or however long to sort of get over that period of like I do still love you, You know, like how long is that transition to go from I love you to, is it like immediately afterwards I no longer love you, or I still love you and I think maybe there's still some, you know, to the point where you're just like, I just see you as a person and as the father of Isla's dad.
That's hard. I think that depends on what happened in the relationship, for sure. For me, I mean, initially I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? I wouldn't say that I like fell out of love immediately, but I wouldn't say that I still loved him in that way too. Like it was tainted. I didn't want to give up on the marriage because that's not what I'm about. That's not what marriage is about. That's not what you do when you get married. It's not like a breakup, you know, boyfriend girlfriend situation where you just, oh, let's go on a break, come back. Like this is marriage. Like you got to fight for it. You got to fight through it, and you got to fight together. But none of that was happening on one end. And so at some point you kind of just have to like, all right, make the decision for yourself and just like prioritize you finally. And that's what I've gotten out of this, is like I finally chose myself. I finally chose me and my happiness rather than staying in a relationship just for the sake of keeping our family together. And that was a very, very hard decision. Very, very hard decision, especially when you have a kid. Because then you're like, I don't want Isla to grow up in a broken family. And I think about that all the time. I still think about that. Like, how is she going to be affected in the long run? And did I make the right decision? Like, though I don't regret it for myself, like, is she going to come back later on and be like, why'd you do this? Or, you know, stuff like that. I think about what ifs a lot about the future of what, you know, we had decided to do with our marriage. But yeah, I finally, you know, for the longest time I was in the back burner. And it's sad to say, like, the divorce finally gave me a reason to put myself first.
That's such a tough thing to have gone through. And I know we talked about this like privately too. Like, I know you always shared your concern about Isla, did I make the right decision? I think it's hard, but like as someone who's like come from like divorced parents myself, like I feel like seeing my mom happy, I think it benefited me as her daughter to see like the happiness is attainable. And for, I'm sure Isla, she's such a lively child, to see you thrive is going to make her feel like my mom made the right decision for herself and for us. I do want to ask you a quick question about like, and this is so different because obviously like I've never experienced what you experienced, but like co-parenting is so difficult because I think technically when people like, and most like boyfriend girlfriend relationships, once you break up you could be like, okay, bye, I don't have to see you ever again in my life. But the fact that you guys do share a child, like how do you like, is it hard for you to see him doing the drop-offs, like to see him, like, oh, I don't want to see you, or like is it just or just something that you accept along the way with everything else?
It's hard. Yeah, because as much as you try to move forward from the situation, you still have to see the person, you know? So yeah, that part is definitely hard. How I feel about seeing him, like, I just keep it short. Like, it's just like, here's her stuff, like, bye. Like, I can't really look at him in the face the same anymore. Yeah, again, it's just so crazy to think that somebody that you once loved with all of your heart is now like a stranger again.
Girl. If anyone watched Strangers Never Again, it's wild.
No, but not a stranger, but not stranger, because I see him all the time. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's feeling the impact of inflation. Seeing all the prices around me climb can be taxing and has definitely put me in high savings mode. If you're like me and are looking for a deal, you need to check out Honey. Honey is a free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. It's been saving me a lot of money for my recent purchases for my friend's bridal shower, Mother's Day, and even my day-to-day groceries. With Honey, it makes it super easy to save, and I feel like I'm not doing anything or any extra work to get these savings. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/ABG. That's joinhoney.com/ABG.
I mean, we weren't planning to talk about that, but like, if anyone's watched Stranger Never, like Cathy started it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And it was basically a very similar situation, I guess, to
Crazy
what you
coincidence.
had,
Yeah.
what
Coincidence.
you were going through in parallel to
While you
acting.
were acting. Yeah.
It was crazy. Well, during the time of like shooting and stuff, nothing happened yet. We were still good. Everything was fine. It wasn't
And you
until,
read the
like,
script and you're like, ooh, this
I
is
was like,
terrible.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be divorced. Like, all right, whatever. It's not real life. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Freaking Philip.
So that's why he's gonna have to write Marissa's story.
Yeah,
where she,
that's right.
finds love and lives happily ever after.
Starring you with Isla.
There you go.
Spell her name backwards. That's gonna be her name. All right, no.
Asla?
Hazel.
Oh, I'm like totally just spelling it wrong.
You're so off. Yeah, that was pretty
No,
crazy.
yeah, that was really crazy. And yeah, when it released, I was like,
because you were going through it when.
yeah.
it
So actually, when it
released.
was being released was when like I was in the heat of everything.
Oh, wow.
So it was like I'm sharing about this story about Marissa and how she's getting a divorce, and now I'm like possibly going through the same situation. So crazy.
Did it kind of help that even like the lines that were to come, or how she sort of like refound herself, or like the sort of the ending catharsis, like that sort of a moment, did it sort of help in
help me in like
help you
like processing it,
process and like see what's
like,
I guess,
oh, there
kind of
could be
to
more
come,
for
or-
me.
Yeah.
Kinda. I mean, the funny thing is, yeah, after her divorce in the movie, she flipped her parents home,
Oh, yeah.
and I flipped my parents home after we moved back home. I did not plan that. I did not do that because Marissa did that. I did not, for the record. I have hope. I see the hope in Marissa's life, and I was like, yeah, she's gonna be okay. She made the decision to not, go back to Jean.
Josh.
No, to Jean. Jean was the divorce.
Oh, wait. Oh my
Somebody
gosh,
needs to rewatch.
cut that out.
No, yeah, she made the decision to not go back to Jean because she chose herself, and like I did watch it again after everything, and I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, well, maybe I'm hoping that I do make the right decision for myself.
Well, now that we've talked about Isla, and we've talked about the divorce, and we've talked about your new perspective on parenting, how's Cathy doing? How are you doing?
I think I'm doing okay. I'm all right. I mean, obviously, I still have my moments. There's still a lot to unveil underneath, like all the pain and hurt and trauma that I still have to figure out. Like, again, I don't think this is something that you just kind of move on from so easily and so quickly. So yeah, I still have my moments of stuff that still triggers me, and that's just stuff that I'm gonna have to work on my own. But I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm not great, but I'm not bad either. I'm okay.
Something that I love about what you're doing with Isla is that you're sort of revisiting different locations that hold certain memories for you too, right? That you no longer want to associate with just that part of your life.
Yeah.
That you kind of like want to rewrite your history with Isla and good memories, positive memories of certain places.
Yes.
I love that you do that.
Thank you. I did that recently because of our wedding anniversary. That was very recent, and yeah, I've been like, that date will you just think about it.
Can we skip that day? Like, can we just not have this on the calendar?
Skip it real quick.
What did you and Isla do that day?
Well, I don't want to make a big deal out of it, and she doesn't know why we go out on that day. But we go to Disneyland, or we go to downtown Disney. We don't go to Disneyland. We go to downtown Disney. I don't think we're going to do that every year, but I think just putting ourselves in a more happy environment where I don't have to think about specifics of the day. is nice. And just, we grabbed ice cream, got some beignets, and just enjoyed each other's company for a little bit. And so that's what I plan to do from now on, because I used to like celebrate our anniversary very like wholesomely, I guess you could say, where it was like very traditional gifts and all that shebang. But yeah, I'm just trying to, again, like how you said, rewrite, over bad memories or bad things and making new ones. And that's all I can do, really.
Yeah. I think that's like a really actually beautiful way to, because you're celebrating love and you're doing it in a different way, right? So being proactive, because I could see like, I mean, I've gone through just like a breakup, and my thing is like, I'm just gonna stay in bed, or like it's so much easier to like avoid, right? Like instead of like doing something proactive that day, you could have just been like, okay, I'm gonna just like ignore the days happening, right? But doing something proactive, you're like, no, I'm gonna like plan something and then do, create something new. I feel like that's like an amazing approach, and I actually have not heard of that like as a way to go about it. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, Cathy, one thing I love seeing, I definitely think you're blossoming the last few months, and you've been trying like so many different activities, like rock climbing, and like I don't know, I just feel like you're really putting yourself out there. So what are some ways or some things you're finding joy in lately?
Yeah, I'm in my self-discovery, self-love era right now.
Love it.
I find joy in taking myself out on dates. So yeah, like just doing activities that I've always wanted to do but never had the chance to, and just finally doing it for myself and not waiting on anybody.
Yeah.
And creating my own happiness and just enjoying my own company, really.
Oh. What are some things? I'm just curious, like your like bucket list.
Specifically, the most recent was like pottery, like different classes. Yeah, like rock climbing I used to do, but I did again. I took a dance class, which was like really scary, but like that was also something where I'm like challenging myself to do, is like saying yes to difficult things.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do, but I did it, and I'm very proud. Pottery was the most recent one. I go out to musicals on my own.
Oh, that's nice.
Dinner on my own. So, yeah, just finding things that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And just doing it.
I love that. I know you're doing like, I know you're focusing on like self-love and yourself, but is there any activities you want like a plus
Friend?
one?
All right.
A friend.
Okay.
Very open. I think I'm just love when like, especially when women like just take themselves out on dates. I feel it's so liberating, and you just feel so, I just spit everywhere. Sorry, I just saw the spit go like this.
I saw too.
Yeah.
Just me. Thank you.
We saw
Liberating.
slow-mo it.
Over here.
Yeah. Sorry. But I just think it's just, I don't know, I feel it's like a very subtle but very empowering thing you can do for yourself. So I love seeing you do that.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
I know.
And for our listeners out there, who obviously they follow you, but what is something surprising they may not know about you? She got a tattoo.
No, I don't have a tattoo.
This is how rumors get started.
Sorry, I really
I don't know. Surprising? I feel like everyone knows everything about my life, really, because I share so much. I don't know. What do you want to know?
Haven't shared.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't shared it for a reason, probably.
Or is there something on your bucket list that might surprise all of us?
Oh,
Like-
ooh.
Gonna do pole dancing or something? Or not? It's fine.
Like I would do like a pole dancing class.
Okay.
Yeah, I would try that. Or like a heels class. One of those. Like,
We should totally.
Wait. Okay. Yeah, we're doing that.
yeah.
I would be down
Stuff
for
like
that
that.
as well.
So rave. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Kathy's also going to come with us to a rave.
I'm down. I'm down. You see, with the right people, I'm down to do anything, really.
Okay.
Very,
So nothing surprising. Kathy's
Well,
down.
she was
I don't
mentioning she
know.
wants to go to a festival with us. So.
I did. Oh yeah, like
Music festival.
what festival should we go to?
Coachella.
We got
Surprise,
next week.
surprise. We have all not been to Coachella.
yeah.
Is that crazy?
That is kind of wild. Have you been to a festival?
No.
Oh
Really?
my
None?
gosh. Can we dress you?
What?
Yeah. Why
The
not?
look of fear in her eyes.
But why?
We're like, can you? I want to wear her clothes. Her clothes are nice.
we all have the same style, you guys. For the most
I want
part.
to make her look like I see sparkles.
I want to make Kathy
a
look
make-
like a little like a
Like a-
bottle service girl.
like a mini disco ball.
That works too. I mean, I think I asked you this a few months ago, so I'm gonna bring it up again.
Uh-oh.
I mean, obviously you've been going through this healing process. It's ongoing. When do you think you'll be ready to find a partner again?
ooh, I don't know if I'll ever be ready, like to say that I'm ready. But I'm not ready. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I wonder for you, like obviously being in a relationship for so long, like the thought of dating or like entering that world is probably like, and like, I think it's not until you see someone you're like, oh, he's kind of, you know, and then you have that feeling. You're like, do you ever have that moment? You're like, oh, I think I'm ready to date again.
Have you dated since?
No.
Oh.
No, I have not done anything to put myself out there. I think that's gonna be hard, considering I'm a homebody. So I don't know.
People like being at home, you know.
Yeah, but how am I gonna meet people if I'm at home?
We might know people.
Would you be
Modern
open?
dating is scary. The thought of like being on an app scares me.
Because you never had to be on an app before.
Starting over is scary, you guys. Like, I invested so much time into this last relationship. Now it's like scary in a sense where I'm like, how do I know this next person isn't going to hurt me too?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like, but I mean, it's not stopping me from like being interested in somebody or whoever out there. But it's just like, I hope that doesn't like hinder me from, you know, finding somebody. So that, we'll see. We'll see when it happens, if it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone reached out to you, you would be open?
Stop. I don't know.
Talking to them?
You better be like,
gmail.com. Is that really? Okay.
You were so confident, though. You could have just kept it.
I'm gonna find the one for her now.
Oh, my God.
Sorry.
Oh boy, here we go. This was the situation with Mel and Jenna for a long time. Hey, do you have any friends for me?
We watched too much Love is Blind and Bachelorette.
Yeah.
All that reality.
Should we sign you up for the Bachelor?
No.
Okay, but
I cannot.
Let's set Cathy up for Love Island. That's the worst one.
Island.
That's the worst one. I'm just kidding.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, I
And
love
that's
it.
like the trashiest, isn't it?
But you get to go on an island, though. Like,
you get to go on
the guys
For
are
the
like,
vacation.
the guys
For
are like,
vacation.
the guys are like, I'm 21. I'm ready for love. I was like, no, you're not.
No, I can't.
No, you're not.
Cringe.
You just came out of a fetus. Well, we hope that in due time, you will find someone who will be also a great dad to Isla too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. What is your favorite thing about motherhood?
My favorite thing about motherhood is seeing myself in Isla. I think she is like the funnest and best parts of me. And it's like really fun to see that, and I love it so much. Yeah, just seeing her grow and being able to have that influence on her life is huge. And yeah, I love that part.
oh. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Cathy. You are our first guest on
Oh,
video.
my gosh.
Very special.
Got me crying, all that too.
We appreciate you. I mean, you shared some really personal experiences on the podcast, and we really appreciate it. And we know that there are listeners and now viewers out there who are going to find a lot of strength in your story. And, so thank you for being vulnerable with us. And you had so many amazing pieces of, like, it wasn't direct advice, but I feel like you could take it away as really positive. So thanks again for being here. And for any of our viewers or listeners who want to connect with you, where can they find you?
I am mostly on Instagram and TikTok at It's Cathy. That's it.
Y-E-E.
Y-E-E. It's Cathy with a C. That's it.
All right. And that wraps this episode of Asian Boss Girl. You can find us all over social and all of the podcasting platforms and now YouTube at Asian Boss Girl. If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review. Those really help us out. We really appreciate it. We love all of your messages and all of your notes. And with that, we'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye.